Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be starting a new series. We're going to be playing Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which is a sequel to the first game, Pathfinder Kingmaker, which I have played and completed. I'm led to believe that even though it's a sequel, it's not sharing the same story. So if you were to play this, you don't have to play the first one and vice versa. I do recommend the first game though. I enjoyed it personally. I've heard though from friends that this is a lot better compared to the first. It's like they learned from the first game and they built on it and stuff like that. So I'm excited to give it a go. Basically, Pathfinder, for those of you who don't know, I feel like those who are watching this probably do, but there may be a couple that don't. Basically, Pathfinder is a tabletop game, similar in a sense to Dungeons and Dragons. You know, it's all kind of the same thing, but very different roles and stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure if the games are like one-to-one in terms of the mechanics. I know for the most part they are, at least in terms of like the way the stats work and stuff like that and the spells, but I'm sure there is changes to it. So with that being said, we should get straight into it. But also, before I forget, so you can mod these games, and I did slightly mod this game. A lot of these, as far as I know, are just quality of life changes. This one I might not use. Basically, I've got the allow modded achievements, so I can actually get achievements on Steam while I play the game. Brawler class adds the Brawler class to it. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use that or play it, but I just thought I'd add it. Most of these were like shown to me by my friend. Enhanced inventory allows you to search and do stuff in your inventory, which should make it a little bit easier when it comes to actually circumnavigating the bitch. Bubble buffs, bubble tweaks. Obviously is about buffing your character. I'm not even sure. I can't even really remember what bubble tweaks does. Maybe I should have written down exactly what these mods do. That is my bad. I will leave a list in the description below, more than likely. And I guess I can also add the links to the mods I'm using. I probably won't do that on every video, but as this is episode 1 / the prologue, I might do that. Scaling cantrips. Okay, so the way scaling cantrips works is basically in Pathfinder, as far as I know, for example, if you have like Ray of Frost, it does like 1d3 damage. With scaling, they kind of scale up to a certain point as you level, which makes them a little bit more viable. It doesn't make them overpowered, it doesn't make them super strong, but when you're leveling, your cantrips are a little bit more useful, which is why I opted for that. Now, as far as I know, this is a thing that happens in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and it doesn't happen in Pathfinder. So I can imagine I'm going to get some shit for it, but please don't hate me. I do plan on playing a caster, which is why I've opted for this mod. If people hate me for it, I can always turn it off. I'd appreciate if you don't hate me for it, but of course, if people are like, well, I'd rather you stay true to the Pathfinder fashion, excuse me, then I will do that. But honestly, I'm really not that fussed. I just thought, you know what, if cantrips aren't the best, then making them a little bit better, at least for a little while, you know, the earlier few levels of playing, then why not, right? As well as that, we have tabletop tweaks, like the core, the base, the reworks. This is for like mythic levels, and it just tweaks the game and makes it more balanced. And also, I believe it copies more of the actual tabletop version of Pathfinder and, you know, translates it into the game. And then there's this one, which is more of a quality of life. As far as I know, it basically, you can press a button and you can heal all of your people with either potions or spells up to a certain threshold. You can change it. So here, look, max HP percentage is healed to 100%, etc, etc. So I just use like Control and H to basically heal my people. So it's more of a quality of life, so you don't have to individually click every single person or click every single potion, because it's a pain in the ass to do so. And that just reminds me, buffs, this one, basically, if I'm able to buff my characters, then I can. do it with a press of a button instead of individually clicking through people to buff. It doesn't make the buffs last any longer. It doesn't change any of that stuff. It makes it a lot simpler, a lot more time friendly, should I say. So yeah, those are the mods. Again, you can see them here, but I will probably list them below with the links to said mods if people are interested. I'm not sure exactly how long I plan on making the episodes of this. This is a very, very big game. I have a friend who's put 700 hours into this game, although he has played it multiple times and is currently playing it again for like the 15th time. I imagine they're going to be between 30 to 60 minutes long, depending on how I obviously, like how much progression and stuff I make. But we'll see. This is probably just going to be the prologue, me creating my character, because I want to read through all of the classes, even though I kind of have an idea of what I want to pick. For those of you who are reviewing at home, obviously I'd like to explain stuff if I can to the best of my ability, and then, you know, go from there. So without further ado, let's start the game. Okay, so these two are the DLC. We do not have access to the DLC. I haven't purchased them. I am definitely going to at some point. I don't think I need to buy them at the start, but when I'm like creating the game, so there's no point looking into that right now. Join the struggle against the World Wound, the epic war between Galarian and the Abyss that has raged for more than 100 years. Up to now, the Crusader armies have barely managed to curb the overwhelming enemy forces, but not for much longer. The Demon Lords are preparing to strike a decisive blow. You will have to harness mythic powers, take command of the 5th Crusade, and lead it against the demonic hordes. So very different to the first game. I don't want to make spoilers on the first game, because if people want to play it, they want to play it, but a lot of it's to do with basically the first world. I'll just say that for those of you who don't know what the first world is, it's basically the Feywild in 5th edition. It's the variation of that, the different names of course, but yeah, the first game is actually pretty good. I do recommend it. So main story, let's go next. Okay, so here's all the difficulties. As you can see, there's a few. Normal basically starts off as like they get weak critical hits against you. You have Death's Door. Dead companions rise after combat off, which is basically you have to heal them. Not heal them, like revive them, should I say? Remove negative effects on rest is off. So there's basically a bunch of settings. I think I'm gonna probably go with either coring or not coring. That's definitely not a word. Daring or core. Wait. Choosing this difficulty is not recommended for players not familiar with the Pathfinder system as well as implementation in this game. Well, I definitely don't really know the implementation in this game. I'm going to be entirely honest, but we'll see. So, God, does it have to give me that warning every time? So basically, critical hits are normal in core. We do get deaths. Okay, so the difference, God's sake. Okay. Critical hits normal, Death's Door off. Basically, okay, number of enemies is increased. Weather effects are heavy. This one, slightly weaker enemies. Damage to parties at 1. The critical hits are at weak. We do get Death's Door. So Death's Door basically saying, with this option enabled, your character and companions will not die after suffering a deadly injury, and will instead receive a Death's Door condition. If they suffer a deadly injury while under the effect of the condition, then they will die. If your main character dies, the game is over. Certain conditions and effects can kill a character without triggering Death's Door. So I can imagine that would be like certain spells and abilities and stuff. Basically, I know we're not in the game, but in the first game, I'm assuming it's the exact same. Basically, the character portrait in the bottom of the screen will turn red, and that means they're on Death's Door. If they go down and take another injury while at Death's Door, they will die. Now, I know there's stuff like Raised Dead and stuff like that in this game. I never used it in the first one, so I'm not exactly sure how it will work. Hopefully we don't get to the point where we need to revive our dead comrades, but of course you never know. But core, basically critical hits are normal. We don't get Death's Door. Everything, number of enemies is increased. So this was on like standard on the other one, or was it few? It was standard. Slightly weaker enemies. Enemy stat adjustments, none. So they're basically just normal. Weather effects are heavy. What does it do? This option determines the severity of penalties and how much damage members of your party receive in storm weather. So if it's, I guess, like a blizzard or it's raining heavy and there's lightning storms, you're going to take debuffs basically. Okay. Enable character retrain. Okay. So normal is what I ended up playing Pathfinder on. I'm more inclined to play on daring. But the fact that critical hits are weak, I don't know. So it says damage bonuses are not multiplied on critical hits suffered to your party, making critical hits significantly less like deadly. So the fact that it says significantly makes me feel like I'm a bit of a pussy if I do end up going for this. I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure. It's saying it's not recommended. See, I'm fairly new to Pathfinder, so even though I've played the first game, it's hard to really go off of that in terms of experience. I have played the tabletop game for a while. I actually finished my Pathfinder campaign that I was in a few weeks ago now, and I have a general idea, but I am not like a veteran of the game. I haven't played it for years and years and years. You know, I don't know every rule and stuff like that, so it's definitely going to be a learning curve. And I've definitely got to pay attention to a lot of what's going on in the game. So I'm not sure. I'm very torn. I'm very torn here. Like, I don't want to play it on like the hardest, because like, why would I want to inflict that much pain upon myself? I think we'll go daring. Okay. I'm assuming we can change the difficulty in game. If anybody hates on me for it, which I'm sure there will be people that will. But if people hate on me for it, then I might end up upping it to core. I might. Not 100% sure, but maybe. Okay. So we have pre-generated characters: a Cavalier, a Cleric, a Fighter, a Rogue, a Slayer, and a Sorcerer. These are basically just people that are pre-made for the game. I'm not sure if these have their own stories and stuff like that. There's definitely a possibility. It shows the difficulty they are to play. It shows their balance in what they're good at. I'm not sure what the green thing stands for. Oh, magic support. Oh, so this, okay. So she's more of a melee combat, slightly defensive, also has slight ranged, no control really, 0 magic, and slight on support as well. The Cleric would be support and magic. The Fighter is all melee based really, or at least combat orientated. So very good at ranged, very good at melee, very good at defensive fighting. Oh, it actually says it right below it. I didn't even realize. The Rogue, very good at melee combat, of course. And then we got the Slayer, who is good at ranged and melee combat. And then we got the Sorcerer, who is basically straight magic. I'm leaning towards playing the Sorcerer myself. Now, I'm not really sure. Even like, it says difficulty 3, actually. I didn't even realize. That's actually the hardest. Oh, besides Cleric, that's the hardest out of these classes, at least. But I want to make my own character. As much as I would love to play through one of these, I want to make my own. So we're going to create a character. Let's pick out a portrait. So it has the same. So in Kingmaker, I believe I used this one. That is the portrait I used. There is mods, by the way, for those of you who are not the biggest fans of these portraits. There is mods that add a lot of them. I'm not personally that bothered by it, to be fair, but I can see why others would be. She looks pretty, but that's more bard, right? This woman also is a bard. Also another bard. So she's kind of a, that kind of looks more like a cleric to me. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at them, there isn't actually that many oh, actually, let's go this. There we go. She's got a book. She's using magic. There we go. That is my sorceress. Okay, so these are all the classes, and this is where it can become very, very overwhelming. Especially for those of you who are new. Even me, just looking at this now, it's like, damn. Okay, so we'll read through everything it says. Alchemist is an unusual class that employs a vast arsenal of handmade potions, extracts, elixirs, and even bombs. Bombs are a ranged area of effect weapon, the alchemist's main weapon. They learn a lot of arcane spells, but instead of casting them normally, an alchemist prepares them as extracts. Okay. An arcanist are specialists of arcane magic. They apply a wide array of spells that make them useful in a lot of different situations. After resting, they choose a limited amount of spells they can use that day. Arcanists are capable of making their spells more powerful. So we could go an arcanist. Barbarians are melee warriors with who plunge into rage to deal enemies a lot of damage. And they move fast and they have a lot of health. They are poorly armored. As they advance, the barbarians gain immunity to some of enemies' tactical advantages. Then we have a bard. Bard is one of the best support classes in the game, wielding a lot of arcane spells. In addition to empowering their allies, they can heal them, as well as control and weaken the enemies. Bards are well versed in many skills like disarming traps and are especially good at passing lore and knowledge checks, and we'll get into that at some point. Blood Rangers are berserkers who succumb to a rage to increase their power in melee fight. They also use a basic set of arcane spells, mostly to empower themselves. As a Blood Ranger advances, they gain immunity to certain enemies' tactical advances. So it's basically the same as a Barbarian. They're very similar, but this one has access to some spells. So Brawler's the one that we just added. That's what the mod added, at least. Brawlers are fighters who have chosen to eschew armor and monk mysticism alike to practice the art of unarmed combat, learning powerful techniques like Awesome Blow. Okay. And then a Cavalier is a warrior who has an animal companion, a faithful steed they can ride into battle. They are strong melee fighters who also empower their allies. Ooh, Cavalier does sound pretty cool. And bear in mind, I'm just reading the basics of the class. Each individual one has its own, like, subclass. I'm not even sure if that's the right word. But yeah. Okay, can I minimize this? Okay, never mind. Let me read. Clerics devote their lives to serving gods. They have access to the most powerful divine spells. A cleric's main role is to heal and empower their allies, depending on their specialization. Some clerics are also good at weakening enemies or smiting them in the name of their faith. So that's what I was talking about. So each of these are, I guess, are a specialization. So there's a lot. Then we've got Druids are guardians of balance, nature, and elements. They have access to the most powerful divine magic coming from their connection with the natural world. In a battle, Druids can empower their allies and animal companions, summon creatures to aid them, or control and weaken enemies. The Druid is a let's just say stars. A 4-star difficulty. Fighter. Fighters are adept at physically damaging their enemies. They have access to a vast array of abilities which allow them to turn into even masters of melee fighting or deadly sharpshooters. Fighters are also great at employing armor and shields, which allows them to become more reliable protectors for their allies. However, they are unable to use magic, and their weak willpower makes them vulnerable to hostile magic. That's basically saying, obviously, we have no access to spells, and if somebody was to use, say, a mind controlling spell on us, like Control Person, for example, then they're going to be more susceptible because they have no willpower, or very low willpower. Hunters fight let's start that one again. Hunters fight side by side with their animal companions. They can use both melee and ranged weapons and employ some divine spells that let them empower themselves and their companions. So Hunter, for me, if I was to play a Hunter, obviously that's more of a ranger, of course, I would just use a bow. Inquisitors are their deities' weapons of retribution. They possess many divine spells, mostly using them to empower themselves and fight with a weapon favored by their deity. Depending on their specialization, an Inquisitor can be deadly in melee or ranged. So this is what I played in the tabletop game. I was an Inquisitor. Now, I'm pretty sure I didn't take any of these, like, specializations. I was just a straight Inquisitor. And honestly, it was really, really fun. The way I played it, I was more of a tanky... I was kind of a hybrid between using my spells for like buffing and also melee. I was using like... So I had a shield and a sword. I also had a two-handed weapon. And I used the two-handed weapon probably most towards the end of the campaign. I definitely swapped for a more aggressive playstyle. So I could play an Inquisitor. That could be fun. Oh, we have so many to go through. Okay, a Kineticist is one of the most difficult classes to master. They are masters of the elements, capable of creating elemental blasts with almost no boundaries. These blasts can be devastating to the enemies. Oh, okay. That's a 5-star difficulty class. And honestly, it makes me want to play it. I won't even lie to you. They get like features and abilities. This is a special attack whose type depends on the selected element. It can deal both physical and energy damage and frequently can hit from afar. They can be modified or empowered, and if a Kineticist possesses more than one element, their powers can be combined. Kineticists create their blasts with bare hands. Any weapons would hinder them. So basically, for example, if we say we got fire and ice, we could combine that into a fire and ice spell. That is pretty fucking cool. That actually sounds amazing. Then we got a Magus. Magus is an arcane spellcaster who fights with a weapon in one hand and a spell in the other. They are very effective attackers thanks to a vast variety of both offensive and defensive spells. However, playing this class takes a lot of attention and micromanagement. See, as a first playthrough for this game, I don't really want to hinder myself by being put off by how difficult a class can be. That is my one worry. Monks are masters of martial arts, deadly in melee combat. They fight with their bare hands or with special monk weapons. A monk must have a lawful alignment or they won't be able to advance. Okay. We got Oracle. Oracles are powerful divine spellcasters who have access to the most powerful divine magic. They will effectively heal and empower their allies or devastate their enemies. Oracles have access to a limited number of spells and only gain new ones as they advance in level. This makes them less flexible, but they can cast more spells before needing a rest. Interesting. So basically the same as a cleric, but obviously with variation. Paladins are fighting evil on the front lines. They are good at destroying especially powerful evil creatures. As they advance, they gain access to a small number of basic divine spells, focusing mostly on healing and empowering enemies and their allies. A paladin must have a lawful good alignment, or they will lose most of their powers. Okay. So there is a ranger class as well. Rangers are adept at exterminating certain types of enemies. Rangers can become masters of any kind of weapon, depending on the combat style they choose. Thanks to their unique abilities, Rangers are some of the best dual-wielding warriors. Interesting, okay. And then also we've got the Rogue. Rogue's main role in the party is dealing a horrendous amount of damage to enemies in melee combat. They don't have much health, but it can be hard to hit thanks to their high agility. Rogue also possess a number of useful skills, from lying to picking locks and defusing traps. You always need a rogue in your party. I'm not going to go rogue, but I definitely plan on getting one if I can. Just for the fact of defusing traps, picking locks, you know, and if I do need to lie, then of course lying. Shamans are divine spellcasters who have access to the strongest spells of this type. Shaman has a great versatility in terms of customizing their build for the player's preferred style. Depending on their chosen specialization, a shaman can massacre enemies, support and heal allies, or control and weaken the foes. However, playing as a shaman is pretty difficult and is not recommended for new players. And we have Skald. Skald is a combination of a furious fighter and an empowering ally. They usually fight in melee and can employ a limited number of spells, can heal and empower their party members. Their songs inspire battle rage in their teammates, making those who fight with their weapons stronger. Ooh, that actually sounds pretty fun. I won't lie. Slayers can fight both in melee and ranged combat. Their main role is dealing larger amounts of damage to enemies, however, the defense is rather weak. Okay. Simple. Slayer. Like, we just read that. Sorcerers are powerful arcane spellcasters with very effective in combat. Unlike the other arcane spellcasters, they can use a limited array of spells, which makes them less flexible in various situations. However, they can cast more spells before they need a rest. So this is what I was thinking about going. I actually played a sorcerer in Pathfinder Kingmaker and I enjoyed it. I'm not sure what the differences are going to be in this game, but I also kind of have a little bit of experience with playing one. And that is also why, like I said, about taking the mod that allowed the cantrips just to be a little bit more powerful at the start of the game. Now, I'm assuming that works for any class that has cantrips. But, I don't know. Just with it saying there, they're less flexible in various situations, makes you obviously think maybe I should play a different spellcaster. But it also says that they can cast more spells before they need a rest. And when you're playing a tabletop game, Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, or whatever you want to call it, right? Any RPG, really. If you have a limited amount of spells, then you have to be careful, right? If you're fighting enemies that aren't very strong, then of course you're going to try and use your lower level spells and your cantrips to take care of them, because you never know if you're going to come across something extremely strong that is just going to end your life. Anyways, War Priests apply both cold weapons and a vast array of sacred spells. They are effective in both defense and offense, can heal and empower allies, and have an ability to channel energy to heal or damage multiple targets. That sounds pretty fucking cool. That does sound really cool. So now I want to play a War Priest. Oh, Jesus. I want to play everything. So basically, I know it doesn't really say it here. For those of you who don't know, War Priest, so called weapons. Basically, I'm sure I could probably explain this a little bit better, but basically certain creatures are weak to certain types of, you know, magic or type of weapon, right? Called weapons are basically a certain type, and if you fight an enemy, now this happened in Kingmaker, that doesn't die, like you can bring it down, it will just, and you can keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it, it won't die. But you use a cold weapon because it's weak to it, you need that cold weapon to kill, like land the final blow, basically. I know that was a terrible way of explaining it, but basically that's it. So it says they apply both cold weapons and a vast array, so maybe that's just what they use. Maybe that's like their preferred weapon is a cold weapon. Like, it's called Cold Iron, I believe. Or maybe I'm wrong and I'm just looking too far into that bit of text, but that is a thing still, Cold Iron weapons. And I'm sure we'll find some in the game and I can read up on it. Witches are potent arcane spellcasters who can employ their strongest spells. They are especially good at controlling and weakening enemies both with spells and unique magic abilities called hexes. Witches can also heal and empower their allies. Though less effective than some other classes, this is a difficult class to play for a newcomer. Okay. Another spellcaster, and then of course we've got a wizard. The OG of OGs. Wizards are powerful arcane spellcasters. They have a large array of different spells which makes them useful in different situations. They can destroy or weaken their enemies or empower their allies. However, this versatility has its downside. The number of spells a wizard can cast per day is not very large. So, wizard is basically the alternate to a sorcerer. That's the way I see it. Now, I love wizards. If anybody's been watching my Divine Divinity playthrough, which I'm still going through, then I've already mentioned that, generally speaking, in RPGs, I always opt for spellcasters because I just love everything about them. And wizards are just the OG, and yeah, but I'm not sure if I will go a wizard. Like I say, I'm pretty much set on being a sorcerer at this point. And then these ones are, would you call, I guess they're called subclasses. So this one requires Persuasion 5, Mobility 3, Knowledge World 3, Perception 3, Dazzling Display, which is a an ability, Weapon Finesse, Proficiencies in Dueling Swords, Weapon Focused Dueling Sword. So all of these are going to have prerequisites. Basically, I can't be any of these unless I meet the requirements. So for assassin, I can't even speak right now. Assassin, all I really need is stealth 5, and then I could use the assassin subclass. Mystic Theurge, or Theurge, I don't really know how you pronounce that. If I have 3 in Law Religion, 3 in Arcane, like Knowledge Arcane, ability to cast Arcane spells at level 2 and Divine spells at level 2, then I could be that. Winter Witch, I would need Knowledge Arcana 5. I would need either Frost or Winter, which is a feature apparently, and the ability to cast Divine and Arcane spells, or either or actually, it says or. So yeah, basically, these are all subclasses to these, the main classes. So if you were to play a rogue and you're like, okay, I want to go into the assassin subclass, then you could. And it will also give you certain benefits and also probably take away some from the normal rogue trees. But so a mercenary undertaking these tasks were called professional detachment. The assassin is equally adept in espionage, bounty hunting, and terrorism. At his core, an assassin is an artisan, and his medium is death. Trained in a variety of killing techniques, assassins are among the most feared classes. So it shows you what you get at like the levels. So you get the use of poison. Now there's a lot of text on the right. I'm not going to read through all of it. You get death attack, you get assassin proficiencies. And then obviously as you level it up, you're going to get more stuff. I'm not sure if 10 is the highest level of that. It might be. But you get like death attack. At 10th level, the death attack becomes a standard action. And death attack means if a character's current hit points... Oh, sorry. If a character's current number of hit points is 0 or negative, but the number of negative HP is less than its constitution score, is unconscious. I can explain that now. So basically, if you have 20 constitution and you go unconscious and you're at minus 15 health, you're still unconscious. If you go minus 20, or maybe it is 21, if you go minus 21 hit points, you're dead. That's basically what it means. But death attack. An assassin can make a special attack with a melee weapon against a target that doesn't know about the assassin. It's basically a sneak attack. The attack has the additional effect of possibly either paralyzing or killing the target, the assassin's choice. Death attack is a full round action, meaning you have to stand still. You can't move and attack. It has to be in place. Death attack fails if the target detects the assassin or recognizing the assassin as an enemy. So you have to be hidden, basically. If the victim of such a death attack fails a fortitude save, which is a DC of 10 plus the assassin's class level. So let's say you are a 10th level assassin. That means the DC would be 20. And the assassin's intelligence modifier. So let's say you have 10. Actually, I'm not really sure how modifiers work. It's always a bit weird for me. But let's say your modifiers are +3. That would put the DC at 23. Against the kill effect, they die. If the saving throw fails against the paralysis, I can never say that word. Paralysis effect, the victim is rendered helpless and unable to act for 1d6 rounds, plus 1 round per level of the assassin. If the victim's saving throw succeeds, the attack is just a normal attack. So basically what this part here is saying at the bottom, if they fail, so you can either kill them outright or you can paralyze them. I'm not sure why you would. I guess it depends on situation. It's going to be situational. But if they save against the paralyze effect, then they are helpless instead. 1d6 rounds, so basically we'll roll a 1d6, let's say it hits a 3, plus 1 round per level of the assassin. So at a 10th level, that means 13 rounds they are helpless. And helpless basically means a helpless opponent is sleeping, paralyzed, unconscious, or otherwise at your mercy. Melee attacks against a helpless target get a +4 bonus. In addition, a helpless character is treated as having dexterity of 0, giving them an appropriate penalty to AC. Rogues, slayers, and other characters who have the sneak attack ability can apply it to helpless targets. A character can use a melee weapon to deliver a coup de grace to a helpless foe. So you can basically just kill them outright. Like there's not really much they can do. At that point, they're fucked. Especially if it's for 13 rounds, like I said. So you get a +4 to attack and that dexterity of a 0, meaning say their armor class, I don't really know how much lower it goes. I'm sure a lot of people do. If your armor class was 20 and your dexterity goes to 0, it will probably go down like by 4 or 6 or something like that. You know what I mean? It goes down quite a bit. But yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with Pathfinder, I can understand why all of this is very, very overwhelming, especially if you don't know. That's why it's probably better to go with a class that isn't the hardest at first. And the good thing about these sort of games is you level up, right? You don't start at level 20. You're not bombarded with a bunch of shit. Yes, you could read through all of this and be like, I don't know what to pick. But the first thing is you just pick it. You just pick something. So I'm going to go Sorcerer. And every Sorcerer descends from a creature that possesses innate magic, such as dragons, fae, devils, etc. The bloodline grants the Sorcerer a number of available spells, unique feats, and abilities, and helps to empower their chosen specialization. So these are the ones we get to pick from. We get to pick our what's the word? Our specialization. We've got cross-blooded. A cross-blooded bloodline combines the power of 2 distinct heritages. In most cases, sorcerers with this bloodline are the offspring of 2 sorcerers from different ancestries, but occasionally a cross-blooded sorcerer arises from the conjunction of other powers. A draconic sorcerer who's also the culmination of a great destiny, an abyssal sorcerer from a family that dealt with devils, and an arcane sorcerer raised from birth by fae are all possible sources for cross-blooded bloodlines. So all of these are going to have their own individual bonuses and stuff like that, I think. But they all give will +2, but they all do have different stuff. The how the hell do I pronounce that word? Is it Imperial? Imperial Sorcerer, maybe? It doesn't really give me too much information on what these are. Apparently, it doesn't have the following features: Bloodline or Celestial Bloodline. But this is a bloodline. Nine-tailed heir. Stories often tell of kitsune with multiple tails, but not many realize that fewer than one kitsune in every 1,000 has this potential, and those that do usually have a magical quirk in their blood or have been blessed by their race's deific matron. As a result, most that harness the mystic powers of their newfound tails often gain sorceress powers, becoming nine-tailed heirs. So that would change my race. We haven't even picked one yet, but that would change me basically to a fox person. We have an overwhelming mage. Innate magical powers are always a tempting phenomenon, and many people are content with the extent of their powers, but overwhelming mages strive to improve their sheer capacity of their powers. So they all have their like different starting stuff. So it looks like sorcerer bonus feat. Hang on. Sorcerer bonus feat, sorcerer proficiencies, cantrips removed by the archetype. Oh. So it doesn't... Wait. What's the difference between these cantrips and these ones? That one says ES, but this one says EF or SCE. Huh. So we remove the sorcerer bloodline, but we get the inferior bloodline, which is like celestial resistances and etc. Okay, sage sorcerer. Your magic comes from the knowledge and traditions that your bloodline accumulated through the generations, not just from force of personality. You use your intelligence rather than your charisma to determine all class features and effects relating to your sorcerer class, such as bonus spells per day, the maximum spell level you can cast, the save DCs of your spells, and the number of daily uses of your bloodline powers. Okay. A seeker doesn't actually have anything different. And we have a Sylvan Sorcerer. Your ties to nature have more to do with creatures than your capriciousness. For this one, you get an animal companion. I'm kind of It's hard to pick. They all have their own benefits, of course. Got Woodland Stride, Entangle, Hideous Laughter, Deep Slumber. I think these are ones that we get automatically as we level. Fleeting Glance, Poison. As a Seeker, we get like Trap Finding, Seeker Bloodline, which is a lot to read. I want an Animal Companion. I'm not gonna lie. But the only way to have an Animal Companion as a Sorcerer would be this one. So we get the Sylvan Bloodline. The Sage one actually has a full-on... You get Arcane Bolt, Magic Missile, Combat Casting, Bloodline Arcana. But we use Intelligence rather than Charisma. I don't know if that actually means too much in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, that's two different, like, abilities. But yeah. If I pick... What does this one give me? Bloodline Arcana, Celestial Resistance, Bless, Protection from Energy, Heavenly Fire. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to be a Seeker. I don't want to be cross-blooded. I don't want to be this one. This is more of a holy one. Let me select my race real quick. So we have all of the different races. Humans, elves, dwarfs, gnomes, halflings, half-elk, half-orc, tieflings, ASMR, Oread. Oh, it's like a spiky boy. Oreads are humans whose ancestry includes a touch of an elemental being of earth somewhere along the line. Often that of a Shaitan, genie, stoic and contemplative. Oreads are a race not easily moved, yet almost unstoppable when spurred to action. They remain a mystery to most of the world thanks to their reclusive nature, but those who seek them out in their secluded mountain hideaways find Oreads to be quiet, dependable, and protective of their friends. Dhampir is undead. Kitsune is the fox one. I'm not being a fox. I refuse. I kind of want to be... I do want to be a... I want to be an ASMR. I like them. I think they're cool. ASMRs are humans with a significant amount of celestial or other good outsider blood in their ancestry. While not always benevolent, ASMRs are more inclined towards acts of kindness rather than evil. ASMR heritage can lie dormant for generations, only to appear suddenly in the child of two apparently human parents. Most societies interpret ASMR births as good omens, though it must be acknowledged that some ASMRs take advantage of the reputation of their kind, brutally subverting the expectations of others with acts of terrifying cruelty or abject venality. ASMRs look mostly human except for some minor physical trait that reveals that unusual heritage. Typically, ASMR features are hair that shines like metal, unusual eye or skin color, or other unearthly marks of beauty. Okay. So if I pick a half-orc or a human, you get a +2 to 1 ability score. You don't get anything like that. As the thing is, they have so many like off things. Like we've got Celestial Resistance, which gives us a resistance to cold, electricity, and acid. Light Halo. They can create a light centered on their head at will. While using a halo, they gain a +2 circumstance bonus on saving throws against becoming blinded or dazzled. Is that automatic? I don't think I have to cast that. And then we have Heritage, which basically most ASMRs do not know exactly where their celestial powers come from, and their similar qualities of many such celestial touch beings hint at a relatively indistinct or all-encompassing heavenly force in their lineage. Some, however, possess more unique traits and abilities inherited from their supernal forebears, attributes that hint at the precise type of celestial being that affected their ancestors. So I want to stay ASMR. So we get Law Nature automatically. At level 3, we get Entangle and Woodland Stride. I feel like these spells given to me right now aren't the best. I'm going to be entirely honest. Like, compared to... Okay, this one doesn't give me any. It just gives you trap finding. Okay. But hang on. But what was I just reading? Each sorcerer has a source of magic somewhere in their heritage that grants her spells, bonus feats, an additional class skill, and other special abilities. This source can represent a blood relation or an extreme event involving a creature somewhere in the family's past. For example, a sorcerer might have a dragon as a distant relative, or her grandfather might have signed a terrible contract with a devil. Regardless of the source, this influence manifests in a number of ways as the sorcerer gains levels. A sorcerer must pick one bloodline upon taking her first level of sorcerer. Once made, this choice cannot be changed. So we lose the sorcerer bloodline and gain the Sylvan bloodline. And all that really does is it just gives us all of these spells. Like we can summon a Nereid and a Hammer Dryad. I'm not really sure what either of those things are, I'm going to be entirely honest with you. So basically, I'm just going to go with it. I want that animal companion. Yes, I could probably go a different class just to get an animal companion. I understand that, but I'm going with this. We're going ASMR. Oh, no, we do get to pick a heritage. Let's go. So most ASMRs do not know exactly. Okay, we've already read that. ASMRs of uncertain heritage get a +2 racial bonus to wisdom and charisma, and a +2 racial bonus on persuasion. Okay. When used for diplomacy and perception checks, can use a searing light spell once a day. Angelkin are mortal paragons of exceptional beauty, and they serve as exemplars of good and light regardless of the myriad forms they may take. So this one gives me a bonus of strength and charisma, a +2 racial bonus to law religion, and use magic device checks, and can use a lesser restoration spell once a day. That's more of a holy one. Masters of Fire Magic, Emberkin feel the dual pull of their Peri forebear, as well as that of a falling angel further down their ancestry, and wrestle with that urge to do both good and evil. We get a +2 to intelligence and charisma. We get +2 to law religion and arcana, and we can use the burning arc spell once per day. Honestly, that sounds like a pretty cool one to take. What the hell is this? Idlikin? Or Idlekin? I like Idlikin, it sounds cool. Possesses bestial aspects and calm dispositions, and often acts peaceful intermediaries between lawful and chaotic agents of good. They get a +2 to constitution and charisma, a +2 racial bonus on law nature and perception checks, and can use the summon nature's ally free spell once per day. So do we get all three of them? They're all the name, but there's a leopard, a giant frog, or at least 1d3 of giant frog, so that could be 1 or 3, for example, or 1d4 +1 of mites, so that could be 5 in total. Interesting. Okay. Lawbringers are champions of justice and of doling out punishment to the wicked, and often believe chaos is the cause of all mortal suffering. The Archon-blooded ASMRs have a +2 to con and wisdom, and a +2 racial on persuasion and perception checks, and they can use whole person. Ooh, that's pretty cool. And there's a Muse Touched. The Muse Touched epitomize freedom and joy and travel the world to liberate less fortunate individuals. Azarta-blooded ASMRs have a +2 racial bonus to dexterity and charisma, +2 racial bonus on persuasion and mobility, and can use glitter dust once per day. And the Plumekith. Their shimmering avian features make Plumekith instantly recognizable. Though they can act rashly, Plumekith never shirk their duty after making a commitment. They get a +2 to dexterity and wisdom, +2 to mobility and athletics, and they can use the invisibility spell once per day. That would be good for like a rogue, I feel, with the dexterity bonus. So charisma is going to be my wisdom, right? Hang on. What does it say? I swear it mentioned. Oh well, it's fine. I'm pretty sure I use wisdom for my spells. Hang on. I need to triple check. Where's the one that said they use intelligence rather than your charisma? Oh, so it's charisma I need. Okay. So they all give me charisma, no matter, well, other than wisdom. I think dexterity is gonna be good. Dexterity and charisma is probably. I don't need strength. Intelligence could be good. This gives me burning arc. It gives me intelligence, which isn't going to be used for my spellcasting, I don't think. That's what charisma is going to be for, but it gives me law, religion, and arcana. I feel like glitter dust is a really good spell. So I mean, all of these are decent. Invisibility, hold person, restoration is a good spell. Let's go ember. I like everything to do with fire. Okay, now we have a background selection. You are no stranger to hard and honest work. Your hands are callous and your body is strong. One may find your life dull and tedious, but your day-to-day routine made you more resilient and enduring than most. So these all have their own bonuses. This one gives a bonus to fortitudes. Oh, they all do. Oh, wait. Farmhands add athletics and law nature to the list of the class skills. Also becomes proficient with scythes and I guess karmas. Kama? However you pronounce that word. So each of them is going to be proficient in a specific weapon. Okay. I could read through all of these. Healer, Acolyte, Scholar. We could go Scholar then Arcane. Use Magic Device, add Knowledge Arcana to the list of our class skills. If the character already has this class skill, weapon proficiency or armor proficiency granted by the selected background from a class during character creation, then the corresponding bonuses from background change to a +1 trait in case of skills, a +1 trait bonus in case of weapon, and a -1 armor check in case of armor proficiency. I mean, I feel like it makes sense. I feel like, I know I haven't got like a specific backstory, but being a sorcerer, I'm not really sure how much sorcerers are around books compared to obviously, you know, like wizards and the like. And of course, I'm also Sylvan, a Sylvan Sorcerer, which is more to do with nature. We could go Scholar Nature. Select one Orison from Druid list and get it as a spell like ability at will. So I could take one of these spells. Wanderer. We can have the Hunter, the Hermit. Perception, Law Nature. We also get proficiency with a longbow and a short bow. I wonder what weapon I'm going to use. Obviously, being a caster, I'm going to try and keep myself at a distance, but I'm probably going to use a bow or maybe even a crossbow. Damn, there's so many to choose from. I like... no, I'm not a hunter. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to go... Nah, let's just do it. Let's just go what I first thought. Let's just go Scholar Arcane. I don't know if that's ideal, but we're doing it anyway. Right, we have 25 points. Charisma straight onto 20. Heck it. Let's put strength down a couple. Let's put dexterity up. Okay. I don't know if that's good or not. That's probably very bad. I need to think about this. Dexterity is gonna... I mean, we can just read it. Does it let me read it? So it measures my agility, reflexes, and balance. Ranged attack rolls include those for attacks made with bows, crossbows, thrown axes, and many ranged spells. Attacks like Scorching Ray. It also helps my armor class, my reflex. It makes sense for me to put that higher. I feel like my constitution should be a little bit higher though, to be honest. I don't know though. Maybe I could just put charisma at 18. If I put it at 20 though, I mean this is my most powerful thing. It shows there, so basically I get 5 casts of level 1 spells at this level. I'm getting a +2 from being an Emberkin. And obviously we get a +2 to intelligence. I don't know though. I could probably lower. I don't really want to lower strength anymore. Ideally, maybe Dex. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure. Okay, let's lower strength a bit more. Let's put dexterity up to 16. I feel like I'd love this to be 20. Like the change, it's only 1 cast. I feel like I want... That's going to give me 4 points. Intelligence determines how well your character learns and reasons. Animal companions require intelligence score 3 to gain access to many new feats. Oh. Here are examples where you apply your character's intelligence modifier, the number of skill points gained each level. Okay. Alchemists, Arcanists, Witches, Magic and Wizards gains bonus spells based on that. Okay, so we're not too worried about the spells. It says I need an intelligence score of 3. So does that mean the modifier has to be 3? I need more constitution. No, we'll be fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We're just going to be kind of squishy. Okay, now we have 3 points here to put into these. So this is a very long episode, and if you stuck with me thus far, I greatly appreciate it, because we're nearing an hour and we still have a few more things to pick. So we're going to read through all of these. Athletics. This skill depends on your strength ability score. Armor penalties apply to these skill checks. Okay. Athletics represents your character's talent at deeds of physical prowess, such as leaping or scaling walls. So obviously we have a minus to that. We are not strong. We're not athletic. The ones that have the V are the class skills. Obviously we have nature as a class skill, arcana, persuasion, and magic device. If I put 1 on this, it gives me a +8 to whatever check I do. So if I have to roll a persuasion check, I have a +8 to it. So I think doing that for persuasion is always good. Now the question is, use magic device. I don't think I need to do that just yet. I think going persuasion, probably more arcana. This gives me knowledge about spells, magic items, and numerous bits of magical lore. Arcane spells, so we can scroll or scribe scrolls, should I say, while I'm camping. Identification of found magical items, and learn spells from spellbooks and scrolls. Now I'm not 100% sure if I can do that as a sorcerer, like the learning the spells from spellbooks, but we'll try it if we can. And I think having some into nature is always going to be good, especially as I'm Sylvan. It kind of makes sense to put at least a little bit into that, right? It allows me to recall knowledge about dungeons or nature. Delays fatigue while traveling on the world map. This is based on wisdom, and we have a low wisdom score. So maybe nature isn't the best for us with how low of a wisdom score we have. Maybe not. Maybe not. This one's based on charisma, magic device. So I'm not going to go through all of these, actually. I'm just going to pick the ones that I need. We're going to get party members who are going to be more proficient in these skills. So I'm probably going to get somebody who's good with a sword and shield, I imagine. And like mobility and athletics would make sense for them. Trickery and stealth for people that are more focused on dexterity, etc, etc. So these like strength, these are based on, oh no, that one's dexterity, strength, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and charisma. So these two at the bottom are the only charisma based ones. But we've used our points, so let's carry on. Okay, now we can pick our feats. I think we can only pick one at the moment. So basically, as you can see on the right, I can't scroll along, but every few levels we're going to be able to pick a feat. And a feat basically makes us stronger. It's the simplest way of doing it. So we could do like Cantrip Expert. Cantrips you cast now have a damage bonus equal to your wisdom. Obviously, if we was to do that, we'd go charisma. So my charisma bonus is a +4. So I would put +4 damage on each one of those. Now we are going to find items in the game that are going to raise our stats. So we could end up with a crazy charisma bonus. And even though we might not be using cantrips the whole time, it will make them stronger. Now, that could be a decent thing to take at the very start of the game, but because I have that mod, maybe not so much. But as you can see, there is a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. There is a lot of feats in Pathfinder. Now, the ones with the blue, not the blue, I'm not colorblind, I swear. The one with the green thumbs, that's saying a recommended. So it might be worth just going with the recommended for the time being. Point blank shot, you get a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls with ranged weapons at ranges of up to 30 feet. So if I'm using a crossbow, if I'm using a longbow or whatever I use, I'm going to get a bonus to attack and damage. And then spell focus. Choose a school of magic. Any spells you cast of that school are more difficult to resist. So the benefit is add a +1 to the difficulty class for all saving throws against spells from the school of magic you select. So if I use Fireball and they need to make a reflex save, that basically makes the reflex save a little bit higher that they need to make. You can gain this feat multiple times. Its effects do not stack. Each time you take the feat, it applies a new school of magic. And as you can see from the list, it's a prerequisite for a lot of spells or a lot of feats, like great spell focus and then obviously spell specialization. So it kind of makes sense in a way to go for this. If they've got to make a save against any of my spells under any of these schools, obviously depending on which one I pick, then it's going to make it harder for them. Now, my only thought is, right now at the start of the game, I don't know how worth it is. And there's probably people that might watch this who are like, just take spell focus. You're a caster. Take it. And I can understand. There's a lot of stuff we can take here. There's a lot. And honestly, I'm not reading any guides. I'm not trying to min-max. I'm not trying to do anything. If anybody's watching this and you've made it this far and you're like, you should have taken this, let me know down below in the comments. I am always open to hints and tips. Obviously, don't be a fucking dick about it. But if you could say, you know what, look into taking this feat because it opens up a certain tree that it might make sense to take, then sure, let me know. But as of right now, I'm not really sure what to do. Your spells of a certain element are more difficult to resist. Choose one energy type: acid, cold, electricity, or fire. Add +1 to the difficulty class for all saving throws. So that's kind of like spell focus, but it's more based on element. +1 to attack and damage. I'm going to take that. Because I am going to be using a bow. Is it going to be useful? I don't know. We'll see. It could be really bad. Oh, we get a bonus feat. Oh, so we can get both. Ah, okay. Meta Magic Bolster spell. You make your spells deal additional area of effect damage while making them stronger. Spell now deals 2 more points of damage per dice rolled to all of its targets. Additionally, all enemies in 5 feet of the spell are dealt 2 damage per die rolled of the original spell. The spell can no longer apply precision damage. So we can get meta magic. There's a lot of meta magic. Your spells break through spell resistance more easily than most. You get a +2 bonus on caster level checks made to overcome a... Now that could be really good. Spell penetration is going to be great, especially if I'm casting a lot of spells. We could get combat casting. You get a +4 bonus on concentration text made to a caster spell or use a spell like ability. Oh. It really wants me to take spell focus. Combat casting. I'm taking spell penetration. Heck it. Okay. Now we pick our companion. As you can see, there's multiple ones. We've got a bear. It has like +6 natural armor, +9 natural armor. It shows that it has a bite, 2 claw attacks. It shows our stats and stuff like that. Now I need to figure out what I want. A wolf has bite, and it also has the ability to trip them, which is very, very good for melee fighters. It's also very quick. But then again, so are these. Does anything else have trip? A monitor lizard has trip. It's small. It only... At 7th level, size becomes medium. Gains poison. Ooh. Interesting. There's a mastodon. There's leopards, horses. This one also has trip. It's just a doggo. I'd like the thought of having trip. So I'm going to go with a wolf. Sure, like I could take a velociraptor. And it actually does multiple attacks by the looks of it. 2 talons and a bite attack. It doesn't, so the wolf doesn't do the most damage. Like even the Triceratops does more. But it moves quite quick. Yeah, I'm going wolf. I'm going wolf. It's fine. Okay. Now I get to pick 2 spells that I start off with. These are going to be my level 1 spells. Now, I can't remember what spells it said I was going to get. Where was it? So it gives me Ember Arc. I guess it doesn't. I guess it was other ones. Never mind. Okay. So we get level 1 spells. We have a bunch. A Summon Monster, which could be useful. Even though we have our companion, being able to summon another one could be useful, but it only lasts for 1 round per level. So probably not the best. Burning Hands, always going to be decent for damage. But that's also a cone, which means I could hurt my teammates. Magic Missile was always good. I think I'll take Magic Missile. Raven Feeblement. The subject takes penalty to strength equal to 1d6 plus 1 per 2 caster levels. So at my level, basically, it's going to take 1d6 of strength damage, which is really good. Stunning Barrier. You are closely surrounded by a barely visible magical field. The field provides a +1 deflection bonus to AC and a +1 resistance to saves. Gain temporary intuitive insight into the immediate future during your next attack. Your next single attack roll, if it is made before the end of the next round, gains a +20 insight bonus. Additionally, you are not affected by the mischance that applies to attackers trying to strike a concealed target. Wow. So basically, I would use that, and then my next attack made against it is pretty much guaranteed to hit. At least that's the way I'm reading it. It's always cool having damaging abilities. The subject is immediately sickened for the spell's duration. So this one's affected by spell resistance, and that's why spell penetration is good. I don't know what to take here, though. Ray of Sickening or Ray of Enfeeblement. The Ray of Enfeeblement is 1 round per level. We're only level 1, so it will only last for 1 round. This one lasts for 1 minute per level. But it doesn't exactly say what Sickened is. Oh, the subject is immediately sickened for the spell's duration. It still doesn't really say what Sicken does. It's obviously a bad debuff. We'll just go that. I'm leaning towards that anyway. We could take like mage armor and stuff like that, but we don't need to. We're fine. Now we can pick our deity. There is a lot. Each of these are individual gods, of course. I do have a favorite, and my favorite is Seren Ray. Known to her faithful as the Dawnflower, the Healing Light, and the Everlight. Seren Ray is a goddess who teaches temperance and patience in all things. Compassion and peace are her greatest virtues, and if enemies of the faith can be redeemed, they should be. Worship of this goddess of healing, honesty, redemption, and the sun began far to the east of the Inner Sea, in the vast Padisha Empire of Kalesh, where her worshippers can now be found throughout the world. The mains are fire, glory, good, healing, and sun, and her favored weapon is a scimitar. So maybe it might be worth using a scimitar. So there's gods. I don't think I'm going to read every individual god here. I'm going to go with Seren Ray just because I like her. If any of these come up in conversation in the game, then I will just read out the information regarding them. And we're going to go neutral. So we have to pick either of these. That is also because of the deity we picked, I'm assuming. I like to go neutral good. I like to try and have a good start. You know, there might be certain decisions that might change. There's not very much difference in the character creation here, like variance. Let's go this. Let's go this one. No scars. Eye color. We can't change the eye color because we are ASMR. What hair do we go for? Oh, I like that one. You know what? I would expect more customization, but you don't really see your character, I suppose. Let's go with this crazy hair here. Why not? And we'll go with I like white hair. That'll do. Okay, no war paint, no tattoos, clothes color. Let's go for a dark and red. Your typical colors. Yeah, there we go. What's this here? Oh, okay. Show clothes, headgear, backpack. Okay, that was easier than I thought it would be.
I'll take care of it.
Let's go.
Contemplate on your mistakes.
Jesus.
I will see this through.
What does pragmatic mean?
All according to plan.
Oh, I see.
Enemy approaching! No mistakes. No contest. Aim carefully. Let us bide our time.
Look, why does one sound so sinister compared to the other?
Let us be careful. My skills exceed yours. I feel faint.
I feel faint. Let's go reserved. Yeah, let's go reserved. Now, a name. Oh, I'm not sure. Let's pick my birthday. Why not? She like Saranif kind of sounds like... so I'm assuming that's Abadar, Calistria, Pharasma. I can't remember the god's name. Desnia, I think her name is. Seren Ray. Oh, that is a month. Oh, that is literally my month as well. My birthday is on 4th of June. Okay. Name. Let's go for... Alessa. Should I put like a title at the end? Alessa Moon Shadow. There we go. Alessa Moon Shadow. Cool. I like it. Next.
No contest.
Okay, and here it is. This is our final character sheet. There's our portrait. We only have 8 HP. I kind of wish I had more con, and I probably should put more con, but... Actually, hang on. It's never ended, I'm sorry. If we put that down to 14. 13.
Aim carefully.
It still only gives us 8 con, there's no point. Okay. I think it's every 2 the thing goes up. It's fine. It's fine.
Bide our time.
Okay, level 1 Sylvian Sorcerer. We are neutral good, ASMR, 8 HP. Quite bad stats, but maybe they are quite decent. I don't actually know. We have a -2 to combat maneuver. Our combat maneuver defense is 11 apparently. We have a 0 base attack bonus because we're not actually using a thingy. We have a +3 to range attacks because of our dexterity. -2 to melee attacks. We have a +3 to initiative, which is based on dexterity. We have no spell resistance at the moment. Our armor class is 13. Our flat-footed is 10. Our touch is 13. +1 to fortitude, +3 to reflex, +2 to will. And I think in the next episode I will... no, fuck it. So basically the way it works is... I'll read it word for word. This is armor class for situations when you are under the flat-footed condition. A flat-footed character loses that dexterity bonus to AC, and all effects that depend on it, like the dodge feat, and combat maneuver defense, which is CMD, if they have any. If a character does not have a dexterity bonus, the AC does not change. So that spell or ability, whatever it was that I mentioned before, that basically, it was the assassin's thing, right? Basically, it would remove your AC and put you at a flat-footed AC. That's basically what it means. So my dexterity is +3. Obviously, if I added my dexterity to this, it would be 13. And that's why it's a 10. It's basically taking away my dexterity. My movement speed is 30. Touch AC is for touch attacks. So this is your armor class for situations when somebody tries to hit you with a touch attack, for example, with a spell. When you're a target of a touch attack, your AC doesn't include any armor bonus, shield bonus, or natural bone or armor bonus. All other modifiers such as your size modifier, dexterity modifier, and deflection apply normally. Okay, so touch isn't based on armor. This is a special case of touch attack. Okay, there's a special case of touch attack in corporeal touch attack. Some creatures, for example ghosts, have the ability to make incorporeal touch attacks. These attacks ignore solid objects such as armor and shields passing through them. Incorporeal touch attacks work similarly, I can't say that word, to normal touch attacks, except they also ignore cover bonuses. Incorporeal touch attacks do not ignore armor bonuses granted by force effects such as mage armor and braces of armor. Oh, okay. So if you're magically armored, incorporeal touch doesn't really affect that. But if you're behind partial cover or something like that, which would raise your AC, then they don't care, basically. And then armor class makes sense, you know. My armor class is 10 plus my armor bonus plus a shield bonus plus my dexterity plus any other modifier. So I'm probably not going to wear a shield, which means I won't get a shield bonus to my AC. Armor, I'm going to wear robes. I mean, I can't wear armor basically as a caster because if I do, it like, if you wear metal armor, I believe you can't cast spells and stuff like that. It's kind of weird, but basically my AC is going to be fairly low. The only way I'm really going to get it up is like armors of braces of armor, amulets of natural armor, and stuff like that. So yeah. And then we've got obviously our feats. We've got simple weapon proficiency, point blank, spell penetration, and scribe scrolls. Celestial resistance, of course, light halo, and emberkin. These are all of our spells. I don't think we get all of these, but maybe we do. Maybe we do. We won't look through all of this right now, but yeah, these are our spells, I guess. Our special abilities: treat affliction, inspire rage, etc, etc, etc. These are our skills. These are our spell slots. We get 4. Is it saying we get 4 first level spells, or is it 4 uses? I'm still not quite sure what that means. And then it shows us that we have a simple weapon proficiency. We don't have any damage reduction. We have these energy resistances. That's it. Is this going to put me straight into a cutscene? Because if it is, I'm going to pause it and I'm going to end the episode. We're loading. We're loading. Okay. It is. That is going to be the start of the next episode. This one is already 1 hour and 20 minutes long. I apologize, but I wanted to go through as much information as I could, and I definitely could have gone it for a little bit longer. Just to show you the scope and try and give you at least a little bit of information on exactly what I was picking and stuff like that. This game is full of rules, abilities, features and stuff, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of time for me to explain stuff more in depth, especially when I'm looking into it myself. But that is going to be the end of that episode. / prologue. I think I'll title this one the prologue because there's no actual gameplay really. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope there was some decent information in there for you. Again, if you have any hints and tips or features, abilities, spells that you're like, you know what, it might be worth taking that, don't hesitate to leave a comment below and let me know. I am fairly new to Pathfinder, even though I played a little bit of the tabletop game and played Kingmaker. I'm still a noob, basically. So any tips and stuff is going to be welcome. Of course, no spoilers for the game. I don't want you to say, oh, by the way, while you're in this cave, you know, you're going to find this item if you go here or here. Like, let me explore, let me play the game. But any hints and tips about rules, features and stuff like that, sure, let me know. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, leave a comment, all of that fun stuff. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.